Welcome back to week 4 of the ATBA. We are currently 3-0, and our opponent this week, Mr. Rio, is also 3-0, and 1 differential point ahead of me, actually. And we just so happen to have a history of really crazy battles. We haven't played each other, like most of the people in this league. I haven't played him in literally years, so I'm pretty excited for this one. Also a little bit, this is the first battle I'd say I'm a little bit nervous about the prep, just because, well, I'll explain it a little bit after I go over the matchup, but basically it's Dragonite, because it's Tera Dragonite, and it's normal and flying, and it's absolutely terrifying, because even though I have Skeledirge right here, who can shut down basically any Dragon Dance set, it could just turn around and be Choice Banded normal with E-Speed and Outrage, and it hits really hard, and it 2-hit KOs me with Outrage. Or it could be Choice Banded with Flying, or it could not be Choice Banded with Flying and still almost 2-hit KO me, if not 2-hit KO me, with Tera Blast Flying. And as if all that wasn't enough, it could also be special. Tera Flying special. Dragon. I'm rambling already, but Dragonite is so terrifying for me to prep for, just because it can do so many different things, and it's not even. And I even shut down the Dragon Dance potential pretty well. So I can't imagine how anyone else is prepping for this monster. If it was just that, it'd be one thing, but he's also got Cinderace, Goldango, Slowbro, Grimmsnarl, Amoonguss, Primeape, Fortress, Ampharos, and Hatchrim. So he's got a really good team around Dragonite too. He's got the screens option, he's got the regenerator core, he's got hazards, he's got he has the Goldango to keep the hazards up. He's got the Cinderace to court change if his hazard setter isn't good. It's just a scary team for me. And I would even say I have a decent matchup here. Like, I would say Dragonite tips it a little bit, but I would say 60-40 in my favor, and I'm still terrified. I'm definitely expecting Dragonite, Goldango, Slowbro, probably Fortress, just because he wants to get hazards up against me. And then it's a little bit of a toss-up. Grimmsnarl could definitely come for screens. Amoonguss could definitely come for just general bulk and sleep moves. Cinderace is bad offensively versus me, but court change is really good against my team when I want to spread hazards with Garchomp. And I actually think Ampharos takes up a slot here, just because of the way Skeledirge matches up against his team, where he can't switch into it. I think Ampharos is his solution to that, because it can actually switch into me pretty well, and Threaten Volt switches out because I changed my Tera type to Water specifically for this matchup. Which we'll go ahead and start with my Tera Water Skeledirge, Gatorus. I've got the boots this week, the heavy duty boots, because I kind of want to stay in Ghost form for as long as possible, just so Dragonite can't spam Tera normal moves. I mean, once I Tera to Water, Tera normal Choice Banded E-Speeds aren't 2-hit KOing me, which is very good. But any sort of hazard damage or any sort of chip basically means Dragonite starts 2-hit KOing me with normal moves. So I have to run boots just to avoid that situation. We've got Torch Song, Hex, Slack Off, Will-O-Wisp. It's a pretty standard Skeledirge set as opposed to the one we brought last week, but it's really effective. Once I get up to +1 Torch Song, I really start hitting things hard. And if I get a burn on Ampharos, or from this Mon or another Mon on my team, then Hex does a lot of damage to it. And once Skeledirge gets rolling, if I keep it high enough on health, he's not going to be able to revenge kill it with anything but the Dragonite, which is really good, because it means I can basically guarantee a multi-scale break or even a burn if I somehow find out all 4 moves by then and know he doesn't have Facade. If he's Tera Flying, he might not have Facade, in which case I would happily burn it. Next mon, Saberus, Chin Pao. His switch into Chin Pao are very limited. He's got Slowbro. It's going to be Colbur Berry. I know this. He's got Fortress. If it's full physically defensive, it can take 3 crunches because I'm not boosting item. Because I kind of need the heavy-duty boots this week. This is one of the weeks I absolutely need the heavy-duty boots. Just to keep myself healthy and out of Dragonite ranges. I got Ice Spinner, Crunch, Ice Shard, and Sacred Sword. I ran Ice Shard over Sucker Punch on the off chance he is a Dragon Dance Dragonite, like Tera Flying. That would be the only way he could run Dragon Dance, is with Flying Tera, because it can somewhat get through Skeleturge if he's like Lumberry. So I have the Ice Shard for that specific set. Otherwise, I had to run Sacred Sword, because it can kill normal Dragonite. A lot of this prep is going to be for Dragonite, because it just commands so much prep be done for it. But the other moves, Ice Spinner hits Amoonguss really hard, and Crunch hits Slowbro really hard. And Ice Spinner also hits Grimmsnarl really hard, which is one of his only other potential switch-ins to this. Basically, if he doesn't want to lose the Colbur Berry on Slowbro, his only Crunch switch-in is Grimmsnarl. So I can play off that, predict it, hit it with Ice Spinner, and it can't Prankster me. So I can basically get a 2-ko there. I got Chompus. Soft Sand this week, Adamant Soft Sand this week, because, I mean, I really expect full defense Slowbro, but if he's not for whatever reason, I can 2-hit KO it with Soft Sand Earthquakes, with after Stealth Rock damage, of course. I really wanted to do Choice Banded, because Rio's only ground immunity is Dragonite, but I don't want to give Dragonite free switch-ins. If he knows, based off the damage of me 2-hit KOing his Slowbro, that I'm Adamant Choice Banded, that Dragonite's coming right out. And I don't want that to happen. So I'd much rather not be 2-hit KOing Slowbro without Stealth Rock and Burn damage than be 2-hit KOing Slowbro and get Dragonite free switch-ins. We got Stealth Rock. It's important. If he is a Choice Banded Dragonite set, it's really important to break the multi-scale without having to lose health on Skeleturge. It's also just really good for chipping down Amoonguss and Slowbro, because Slowbro can't really run boots versus POW, and Amoonguss could, but then, well, we'll see later. I have ways to punish Amoonguss from running boots. I'm bringing Stone Edge because it's the only other coverage move I really need. It hits Flying Dragonite, and that's all I need it for. And Flamethrower hits Fortress harder than Earthquake, which is the only reason it's here. We got Boots Talonflame, another Bootsmon, shocking! I had to load up all the boots, because if my own Stealth Rocks get court changed, then I need a way to get rid of them and not just have my Mons be taking 1,000,000 damage from hazards. So we got Boots Talonflame again, it's Defog, Overheat, Roost, Will-O-Wisp. It's physically defensive. Cinderace can't do anything to this unless it's like Double Edge. Facade could be a scary bring, but it's kind of hard for him to bring, and it really forces Cinderace into I'm useless unless I get burnt role, which, I mean, it kind of is anyway against me, so maybe he will bring that, but I can deal with that set. We got Defog, obviously. With Overheat, I can OHKO non-bulky Goldango, and I 2-ko bulky Goldango. So he can't really stop my Defogs safely. And I wouldn't expect Rio to make that risky of a switch-in unless he felt it was absolutely necessary. And I would probably... I mean, I have trust in myself to be able to identify that point in the battle and click the Overheat button. Roost to keep myself healthy, and I got Will-O-Wisp on this too. Just status in general is really good against Rio's team. He doesn't have very good... I mean, he has good status absorbers like Amoonguss, but Amoonguss doesn't want to take the Overheat. And Slowbro doesn't want to get burnt because the chip damage without leftovers is really impactful. I got Sorceress, my Shuckaberry Magnezone. It's not exactly physically defensive, but it's a lot of physical defense. And we got Volt Switch, Body Press, Thunderbolt, and Thunder Wave. This is here, basically, again for Dragonite. It stops Choice Banded Dragonite from clicking Choice Banded normal or flying moves, and forces to think about clicking Earthquake. I can live in Earthquake if it's choice banded, but I have to be really high because it's Dragonite. It hits like a train. So Sorceress has to keep high health to live that hit, and it probably won't be keeping high health with the way I want to use it, which is pivoting around, forcing Slowbro into bad situations off of like Slowbro predictions. Excuse me. But it's a really good Mon this matchup, just because it threatens Slowbro so much, but if he brings like a Moongus, it becomes less useful. Of course, I can Thunder Wave the Amoonguss, which is helpful, and I can Thunder Wave something like Grimmsnarl, can't Thunder Wave Ampharos. I can Thunder Wave Fortress, but it's Magnet. We got Magnet Pull, so we're trapping Fortress and doing a lot of damage to it. Last Mon, my new Grafai name, Degenerous. I don't know why it took me so long to come up with this name, it's so perfect. But we're Safety Goggles. This is my anti-Amoonguss Mon. If Amoonguss comes, this Mon's switching into it. And I got Knockoff, U-Turn, Foul Play, Encore. It's also an anti-Dragonite Mon. Gee, I have so many anti-Dragonite Mons. I wonder why that is. We got... If I switch into Amoonguss Spore, or Amoonguss Giga Drain, or any Moongus move that isn't Stomping Tantrum, I take like no damage. And I can immediately threaten Knockoff to get rid of like a Goldango or Fortress item, which is really nice. Or even potentially break Slowbro's Colbur Berry, which is incredibly good. I bring U-Turn over Parting Shot. Obviously, I'm not running Parting Shot against Goldango. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not putting myself in a situation where Goldango can just get a free switch in, because I don't have very good switch ins to that Mon. If it's Choice Specs or something dumb, it can spam Shadow Ball or Make It Rain pretty easily. And even though Skeledirge can switch in, it takes like about 49% max. So it does not want to switch in when it has to take the Dragonite hits too. And then I got Foul Play and Encore. They're basically for two different Dragonite sets. If this is at full health, like if Rio doesn't bring Amoonguss and I can't get it in very efficiently, then I can take a Choice Banded E-Speed from Dragonite, Foul Play it for a lot of damage. Well, I don't exactly remember if it's Choice Banded E-Speed that I can take. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure I can take the Choice Banded E-Speed. I believe in myself. I believe that's what I built the EVs for. I'm not going to question it. But I get the Foul Play off. It does a lot of damage. And if he is, for whatever reason, Dragon Dance with Tera Flying, then I can Encore him into Dragon Dance and hopefully save myself from that sweep. A lot of this game is going to come down to feeling out Mons and keeping myself in the driver's seat. If I can stay in the driver's seat for this game, I can take advantage of my good matchup against his bulk to put him in bad situations where he eventually has to let Dragonite's multi-scale get broken. And once its multi-scale gets broken and I know it's Tera type and set, then it just becomes a matter of keep the proper checks alive at all costs. It's a really stressful matchup, even though I think it's in my favor, like I said. But it should be a really entertaining game that we're going to go ahead and move over to right now. Alright, here we go. Full disclosure, this is post-commentary. I didn't really feel like doing live commentary when we played live, so we'll vibe out with this and see how it goes. So Rio did actually end up bringing the Ampharos, which we expected. He brought the Cinderace, which, I mean, I guess I didn't really not expect it, but it's not that good offensively versus me. So it's probably just here to court change and maybe use some U-turn utility options like that. I'm assuming with this team comp, he's probably full Fizz-Def Slowbro, but I'm still going to try to figure that out in the early game. My lead options are basically Magnezone, maybe Grafai, or Garchomp. I decided to end up going with Garchomp. He really only has two leads that are bad for Garchomp, which are Dragonite, obviously, and Slowbro, obviously. And of those two, I really doubt Dragonite's going to be leading against me. It's not going to want to fire off moves into a full health team. So I'm taking the risk. We'll lead with Garchomp. If he ends up leading Slowbro, I'll have to make some pivots. What I would really expect is Fortress or maybe Cinderace lead. we're about to get this started. Here we go. Alright, unfortunately for me, Rio is actually going to just lead with the Slowbro. So, Chompers cannot stay in here at all. At least, the only good thing is, I'll be able to scout if it does have Ice Beam or not, because it's either going to click Ice Beam or Future Sight here. So I just decide, we're going into Magnezone. Either one of those options is fine, because I'll stay out of Earthquake range and keep my health up pretty good, and I can just get a free Volt Switch off. So I go off into Magnezone. Here comes Sorceress. And fortunately for me, Patrick does click Ice Beam. And also fortunately for me, it doesn't freeze. There's a little bit of tearing on the screen that I noticed at this point in live recording. So we're going to have a cut here in a minute where I fix it. But you don't miss anything, because I literally just click Volt Switch because he can only switch in Ampharos. We get the cut. Here comes Ampharos. And we're going to see how much damage this Ampharos takes from my... Not a whole lot of special attack Magnezone, but it's a Magnezone, so it should do something, right? Nah, it does absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, I can't really tell if that's Assault Vested or just max special defense, max HP. But I'm not really afraid of Shuka Ampharos. I don't respect Ampharos enough to worry about Shuka Berry, so I just go into Garchomp. And I could click Stealth Rock, but I decide I'm just going to click Earthquake. I can scout how much damage it does on the Slowbro, and even though the Slowbro pivot isn't easy for me, my Grafaiai is not as useful when he doesn't have the Amoonguss, because I can't just come in and start knocking stuff off. So I'm already thinking ahead, if Slowbro comes in, I might just go to Grafaiai. Mostly because I went Magnezone last time, and if he has a move for Magnezone and Slowbro, he might click it next time. But Rio's just thinking, what do I want to take this Earthquake? He might have been doing calcs to see preemptively how much Choice Banded would do, because Choice Banded is really good against this team. But we're going to see Chompers uses Earthquake. I think that's like a lower end roll. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a mid roll and I'm just blind because I can't do health bars. But it doesn't do all that much damage. But it will be a 2-hit KO with Burn and Stealth Rock. So here I'm thinking about that play again. If he has a move for Magnezone, he's going to be clicking it here. So I'm just going to end up going into Degenerous. Because its health is not that important if the Dragonite is Dragon Dance. And I'm going to find that out eventually. So Degenerous is going to come on out here. And we're going to find out what Patrick has in store for me. This time it is Body Press, which I figured, seeing no item, knowing this is probably Colbur Berry, it was definitely going to have Body Press for POW. But I'm just going to click Knockoff here. If he stays in to kill me with a Psychic, it's absolutely worth losing Grafaiai to break the Colbur Berry. And if he decides, I want to switch in Goldango, predicting a Parting Shot, or maybe a Prankster Toxic, then I knock off Goldango's item. Rio's going to make the better play, though, and just go into Fortress, not risking anything with Knockoff. So I knock off the Fortress item, which is Shed Shell, so I can trap it, but realistically, I want to keep Fortress alive as something I can pivot on to get in Skeledirge later. So I'm not going to be aiming to trap it. I'm just going to click U-turn here. I'm predicting Stealth Rock or maybe Spike here. Probably not Toxic Spike, but this gives me a leg up if it is Toxic Spike too. Because then I can just go right back into Degenerous. If I U-turn, I'm going into Talonflame, just in case it sets up a hazard, so I immediately have a leg up on a forced switch out to Defog, where he can't go into Goldango immediately, because Fire move. But he's going to make a good play and just Volt Switch on me. Doesn't do much damage, but now he has the initiative to either go into Ampharos and click Volt Switch again, but that does risk Garchomp coming in. Or he could just go to Slowbro, who Talonflame can't really touch, and fire off another free attack. Which I see as the more likely outcome. Some of these turns take a while, watching this back in post-commentary, so I'm a little bit wondering how I'm going to fill the air time, because in live, you know, it doesn't seem like it's that long, but in post, it seems like an eternity of just dead air that I want to fill. So Slowbro comes out, and during that time where Rio was thinking about what he wanted to do, I decided I was just going to stay in and click Will-O-Wisp. Slowbro can click Surf here, but I think that getting the Will-O-Wisp off on it on this turn is absolutely worth that risk. Especially when it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to keep Talonflame in, so a prediction is most likely here. So I'm just going to click Will-O-Wisp. It's going to connect, thankfully. Thankfully, I didn't risk Talonflame on a missed Will-O-Wisp. But Patrick gets burnt, and Patrick goes for Body Press, which is fantastic. I take negligible damage, and now the Slowbro's burnt. So if Chomprisk wants to get a critical hit on the Slowbro the next time it comes in, I can 2-hit KO it with the burn. Now I'm realizing my Surf switch-in is pretty bad because my Skeledirge is still a Fire type and not a Water type. So I decide I have to kind of bite the bullet and let Sorceress take a Surf, which is I don't enjoy because it puts me in range of Choice Banded Earthquake. But I kind of just have to, like I said, I have to live with that and just know I have to keep Magnezone at around good health to where Dragonite just can't lock itself into flying moves if it's Tera Flying. He's obviously going to switch out into Ampharos, and I'm obviously going to Volt Switch. There was really no other play to do there. I do no damage again, and I can get Garchomp back in here. This would have been a good turn to go for Stealth Rock, and I do think about it for a little bit in live, but I ultimately decide that I like the pace the battle's going here, so I'm just going to click Earthquake and see if I can get a critical hit on the Slowbro. Fishing for a crit this early, definitely questionable, but I didn't want to have to take a turn to defog when I'm up right now in momentum. I get about a little bit more damage than last time, and now Rio's in a spot where I'm going hard to Chin Pao here. And the reason for that is I put Slowbro in a position where it's getting 2-hit KO by Burn plus Earthquake on this next turn. So Rio has to make the right play here, which is either Ice Beam Garchomp to kill me and save Slowbro, or Slack Off and keep Slowbro healthy, predicting either me to stay in and click Earthquake or switch out just to stay healthy so he avoids losing his only Garchomp check. So that's why I made the POW switch in. I figured now is a good time to force it in on an Ice Beam or Slack Off, and since it's burnt, Body Press isn't going to kill me. So I can get a huge crunch off that he can't really switch into once I break this thing's Colbur. But he's going to make probably the better of the plays and just switch out Slowbro and go right into Dragonite. Which is a great play for him because now I'm in a tough spot. I really can't stay in on this because I don't know what its Tera type is yet. And it still has multi-scale up. So at least I can guarantee that it has to Tera here to avoid being killed. But I don't know what move it's going to use because I don't know what Tera it is. And at this point I'm thinking I want to go to Iris So Spicy because if it is Tera Normal, its best move to click here is Earthquake, because nothing Tera Normal Dragonite can do besides Earthquake or Outrage can 2-hit KO Skeledirge. If it is flying, it's going to click Tera Blast Flying here. And that's just the best play for Tera Flying, in my opinion. So I really have to make a call, and I'm going to make a call here and say Tera Normal, it's clicking Earthquake. It just seems like the most likely outcome. And I'm willing to lose Talonflame just to figure out if it's Tera Flying. So here it comes, moment of truth. Tera Dragonite, terrifying Dragonite is Tera Normal. Not out of the woods yet, it still has to click Earthquake for me to avoid losing a Pokemon, but it does click Earthquake, and I let out a sigh of relief that I survived Dragonite getting in for free without killing something. Now, I think about Will-O-Wisp here, but then I realize he's going to Slowbro. Like, the Slowbro play is so obvious here. If he is Choice Banded, he can't stay in, because I just burned him for free. I've already revealed the Will-O-Wisp. So he's not doing that. Slowbro's already burnt, and it covers anything else Talonflame really wants to do. And if he's not choice banded, he might click Facade here. And I really don't want to burn a Facade Tera normal Dragonite. Because then if it isn't choice banded and it reveals Facade here, I know that it can't 2-hit KO Skeledirge with anything. So it's a win-win-win no matter what, basically. Unless he stayed in and clicked Earthquake, which thankfully he doesn't. If he did, he would have been completely mad. So Patrick comes out, I get the prediction correct, and now I'm in a really, really good situation. Because I'm back in the driver's seat after losing it on that double switch. And can just click Volt Switch again. Ampharos is going to come out, but at least I can put him back in the cycle. Where Ampharos comes in against Garchomp, and he has to think about what I'm going to click. Ampharos comes back out. I click Volt Switch. It does nothing again, and I'm going back to Garchomp. So now that Dragonite's Terra'd, and in my opinion has kind of revealed itself to be choice banded. I mean, it still could not be choice banded, but it's most likely choice banded at this point. I'm thinking this is probably the turn I should set Stealth Rock, because I can break the Dragonite multi-scale, I can get the chip on Slowbro that I need. But then I'm thinking Rio's definitely going to realize that this is the turn I want to click Stealth Rock, and he's going to stay in and Dragon Pulse me. He doesn't. He makes the right play. He goes to Slowbro. I over-predicted there. I'm going to get punished for it a little bit, and I'm not going to do that much damage with this Earthquake. So now, he's back in that position, though, where he has to make the correct play with Slowbro, or I'm going to 2-hit KO it with Garchomp and get through his only Garchomp check, especially now that his Dragonite isn't Flying type anymore. So now he actually doesn't have that Dragonite pivot. And this time it's really tempting to stay in. I'm very tempted to stay in and try to muscle my way through the Slowbro. But I decide it's not worth it. Let's keep playing the game long. I'm making progress. It's just slow progress. And as long as I keep Dragonite from getting another free switch in, which is a lot harder now that it's Terra to normal, I can win the game. I just have to keep being patient. So I'm going to force in Degenerous here of what I expect to be either an Ice Beam or Slack Off, and it is Ice Beam. So it doesn't do that much damage. And again, no freeze, thankfully. So now this time, I'm not going to waste a turn with Knockoff when the Fortress switch in is obvious. It's the only... I mean, he lost the item, so he's not going to let something else lose an item. So I'm just going to U-turn. U-turn out from Fortress, and it finally gets me in a position where I can send in Skeledirge without taking damage. And that's exactly what I wanted. He's going to think about it for a little bit. Maybe he's calculating if Surf can kill me, but Surf cannot kill me from this range, because Grafaiai is... I mean, I can't lie, Grafaiai is not very bulky, but the way I've been building it, it's pretty bulky. He's going to switch out. Obviously not wanting to lose his Colbur Berry, or be taunted or anything like that. Fortress is going to come out, and I'm going to click U-turn again. And now it's finally time for Gatorus to hit the field. They've been waiting in the wings this whole time for a chance. And it's finally here. Gatorus comes out. But I realize Ampharos is still pretty high. I can't really click Torch Song yet. I'm going to play it slow again. I'm going to click Will-O-Wisp. If Ampharos comes in and I hit the Will-O-Wisp, then it was the correct play. Because it sets me up for the next time I get Grafaiai in and force in Fortress to get the kill on the Ampharos. Thankfully, Gatorus does hit the Will-O-Wisp. So now, with a little bit more chip from Magnezone Volt Switches and +1, I'll be able to get rid of the Ampharos and put myself in a winning position with Skeledirge. So I'm going to switch out here. I predict Dragon Pulse. I could have stayed in if I was predicting Dragon Pulse, but the risk isn't really worth it. But I can just go to Magnezone and take negligible damage. So I'm going to send out Sorceress. And Ampharos is indeed going to click Dragon Pulse. He just can't let Garchomp come in. Especially with Slowbro not having full health from regen, he just can't let that happen. So I'm going to click Volt Switch. I could have stayed and clicked Body Press, but I didn't really want to risk a Focus Blast either, just in case. He should Dragon Pulse again here, just in case. Just so he doesn't let Garchomp in, but I get a tiny bit more chip damage. And I decide, if I have to sack something, it should probably be Degenerous. It's the least useful Mon. So I go to Degenerous, and we're going to see Rio click Dragon Pulse again. Which is good, because I can live a Dragon Pulse. Just barely, but I can. So now, I'm wondering, should I just click Knockoff again? No, I should click U-Turn. If he stays in, that's whatever. I'll just go back to Magnezone and Body Press this time. But what I really want is for him to think that I might have Poison Jab and might be able to take him out. I don't think I could, to be honest, but that fear was obviously there. Or maybe not. But he goes to the Fortress anyway, which is perfect. I finally get myself back in this position that I wanted to be in since basically the start, where Degenerous U-turns on Fortress, Gatorus gets to come in for free, and I get to click a free Torch Song this time. Because the Ampharos is too weak to switch in and take a Torch Song plus a Hex. He's going to go to the Ampharos because he doesn't really have another play. He just kind of has to hope he can take it. But Gatorus is too strong, even without Special Attack Investment. The Torch Song does no damage, by the way. That did absolutely no damage. But this +1 Hex is going to take him out. Torch Song probably could have taken him out, but I don't do health bars well, guys. I don't do health bars well. I miss my percentages on Showdown when I could know for sure what a min roll was. So I'm not risking min roll, and I'm just going to kill it with Hex. I got a crit, it didn't matter. Hex killed anyway. But now I'm in a really good position, because nothing on his team can actually kill Skeledirge from here. Goldengo can't 2-hit KO me, because I'm just going to Tera to Water on his Shadow Ball. And then Cinderace can't do any damage to me. Slowbro dies to a Hex, because I'm at +1 and he's burnt. Fortress is going to die to a Torch Song. He has to go to Dragonite now. And Dragonite can't OHKO me, so I get to break the scale now. And since he's Tera Normal, I mean, I'm going to Tera here. Because there's only 2 moves that a Choice Banded normal Dragonite can click that can 2-hit KO Skeledirge. One of them is Earthquake, so I can take that away by Terraing to Water, and the other one is Outrage. And is he really going to be Choice Banded Tera Normal with Outrage? I mean, I have a Hatterene. I didn't bring it, but I have a Hatterene. Surely he'll respect the Fairy type, right? I'm setting this all up, but I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious what's going to happen here. I'm going to Tera. And I click Torch Song instead of Will-O-Wisp because I'm not giving him Facade. He's normal type. I refuse to believe he doesn't have Facade. And I want the Guarantee Break. He doesn't have Outrage. He is in fact Choice Banded Outrage, and it does a shit ton of damage. Fortunately, I do break the scale, and this actually puts me in a good spot. Because I have a sack, and I can sack Degenerous. And if this gets a 3-turn Outrage, his Dragonite is gone. Because then my Chien-Pao can just come in and kill him off with a Sacred Sword. So, for the first time ever, I'm hoping that my opponent gets a 3-turn Outrage. Degenerous dies like 15 times there. Poor thing. But it did a lot of work this game, to be honest. And unfortunately for Rio, he gets the bad beat and gets a 3-turn Outrage. Very fortunately for me, because I can just send out Saberus. And this Dragonite is thankfully only going to claim 1 kill. Sacred Sword takes it out. And at this point, I'm very happy. I mean, I feel bad because he got the 3-turn Outrage, and that completely changed the game. Because now he doesn't really have a way to break through me and has to hope that I choke. Unless he's I mean, if his Goldango is like Life Orb or Choice Specs or something offensive like that, it's not faster than Pao and Garchomp, and they can both OHKO it. So it kind of has to be Choice Scarf to pose a threat to them, which would lose to Sucker Punch Pao, but of course I don't have Sucker Punch. I have an Ice Shard. He doesn't know that, but I know that. So his play here is probably Cinderace, unless he's Colbur Goldango and wants to try to lure me, but I'm not going to fall for that. He does go to Cinderace. He's definitely clicking U-turn or maybe high jump kick here. Regardless, this is a free Talonflame switch in. If he does click Double Edge, I'll immediately be able to tell if he's Choice Banded or not, because, you know, Choice Banded will kill me, whereas non-Choice Banded won't. And unless he clicks a Fire move here, which, I mean, I guess it's not unlikely since a Fire Weak Pokemon is in front of him and he doesn't want to get burnt. But, like I said, no fire. If he doesn't click a Fire move here, he has a chance of getting burned. I mean, I guess it could be Electro Ball, but I really don't think that's going to be the case. He clicks U-turn. And U-turn on Talonflame, we all know what happens. He gets Flame Body burnt. Another bad beat for Rio, which I don't feel so bad about that one. You brought Libero Cinderace versus Talonflame. I mean, if it has Facade, then he got me really good, because now that's a threat. I don't really have a switch in for Facade Cinderace anymore. I'd have to get Skeledirge back up to health. But considering the way his team was built, I don't really expect it, and at this point, I think I'm okay losing Talonflame. Because even if it is Facade, it's not gonna, like, Talonflame's not gonna help versus that. What's it gonna do? Die to Facade? Yep, definitely gonna die to Facade. I said Facade so many times in this commentary. And he hasn't even clicked it yet, and I've said it, like, so many times. But he's gonna send out Joe, the Goldango. It screams Choice Scarf. Like, it really screams Choice Scarf, but I don't really care. I'm just gonna pick the Overheat. If he's not bulky, I OHKO. If he's not Choice Scarf, I OHKO. Well, I don't OHKO if he's bulky, but he has Choice Scarf. It's a moot point. He gets a crit, it doesn't matter. Talonflame was dying to that Thunderbolt regardless. But now I know he's locked into the Thunderbolt, which gets me a Garchomp switch in. But while this does get me a Garchomp switch in, Slowbro's still healthy. So what it actually gets me is a Garchomp switch in to a double right back to Magnezone. This Goldango is his only way of winning at this point. He has to get my team chipped down to the point where Goldango can clean it up. And that involves getting rid of certain mons that resist certain moves. So I make this double. In my opinion, it's no risk, but of course, he could always have stayed in and clicked Thunderbolt and probably two-shot me from this range if he's modest, but really depends. Regardless, none of that happens. That's all this theory money. He goes to Slowbro, and I'm going to click Thunderbolt. He doesn't have a switch in for Thunderbolt anymore. It's going to do a lot of damage to everything. Really, the only sacks are Fortress or Cinderace, and he kind of has to keep Fortress to have a chance of winning because it doesn't immediately die to Chin-Pao. So he's in a rough spot here. Maybe he can live a Volt Switch. I don't know. I'm not a whole lot of special attack. I didn't really run the calc to see if I could kill with Volt Switch, because I didn't really care. But I know Thunderbolt's going to kill. Man, post-com is a little bit awkward. I just feel like I have to fill all this dead air. But I really don't, but anyway, he's just gonna stay in. I'm gonna kill him with Thunderbolt. Slowbro goes down, finally. The thing took so many hits this game. I guess it's just what Slowbro does, though. So Magnezone gets a kill. Its first kill of the season. And now he has to go into either Goldango to kill me off with Shadow Ball, or Cinderace to try to kill me off with Pyro Ball. He's gonna go to Cinderace, and I really don't care about keeping Magnezone around at this point. I actually want him to kill me with Pyro Ball, because then I can heal up my Skeledirge. So I'm actually staying in the hopes of sacking Magnezone, but he actually goes for Super Fang, which is obviously not going to kill me. So I'm going to get a Volt Switch off, and Magnezone's going to live for a little bit longer, do about half to the Cinderace. And now I'm going to go into Skeledirge, and we'll find out if it's Facade. I think about Chien-Pao for a second, but because I'm worried about Facade, but I say to myself, he's not Facade. He's not real. He's not Facade. So I risk it all. I mean, not really, but I risk a lot, because it would be really hard to win without Skeledirge. To click Slack off in this thing's face. I suppose it also could have been Taunt, but Taunt's not really that scary. He's just going to U-turn. He's none of those things. It's fine. I already knew that. And Skeledirge is going to get itself healed up. So now Goldango can't just click one move and clean me up. Whereas before, if I played it really badly, it could have potentially clicked Dazzling Gleam and cleaned up a weakened team. Now it can't really click anything. I'd have to throw majorly to lose at this point, and I'm gonna play it out down to even like a 1-0 to guarantee I don't lose. Which is why I'm sacking my Mana Zone here, because I'm not gonna risk him getting a critical hit with Shadow Ball or getting a Spadef drop with Shadow Ball, and I don't kill him with Torch Song because I have no special attack. He could very easily VD this to live a Torch Song, so I'm not taking any risks. I just decide I'm sacking Mana Zone, I don't need it anymore. Let's see, and if he locks in the Thunderbolt, that's fine. He does Shadow Ball, his best play. It turns out all that was founded because he does crit. And if I had stayed in, that would have been really, really bad. But it doesn't matter now, because I know he's locked into Shadow Ball. I actually go to Garchomp because instead of Chien-Pao, because he has Fortress, and Chien-Pao can't kill Fortress. Maybe it could have if I got a high roll with Crunch, but I'm no boosting item, and I'm Jolly, so probably not. I know it was taking the Crunches pretty decently in the calcs, so I just go to Garchomp. I know he can't switch into Garchomp. And it keeps him from being able to lock into Shadow Ball to finish me off if I keep Pao healthy. I do a lot, and I just decide I'm clicking Flamethrower. Once again, I don't like health bars. I want my percentages back. I don't know if that was a max roll Earthquake or not. So I'm just clicking Flamethrower to avoid max roll into min roll until something stupid like Explosion Fortress. I'm not risking it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it when the worst case scenario is Cinderace comes in and it can't kill me, so I click Earthquake again. I kill Fortress with Flamethrower anyway, so it doesn't really... All at this course doesn't matter, because it went the way I wanted it to. So now, he really only has a couple things he could try. He could try to Super Fan use Cinderace, or he could try to get like a critical hit, make it rain, or Dazzling Gleam with Goldango. He's going to go to Cinderace. So I'm like, okay, I'll let him kill Garchomp if it means I win. Guaranteed. So I'm not going to make any switches. I'm literally just going to click Earthquake. Doesn't matter to me what he clicks here, because I'll kill him with Earthquake, and then if Goldango comes out, I'll probably just let it kill me to guarantee nothing stupid happens. But he thinks for quite a while about this play. I'm not entirely sure why, because I think really, in my opinion, it's lost at this point. He doesn't really have a way he could potentially win, but maybe there was something I missed. Maybe there was like a way where he could perfectly finagle it, because what he ends up doing here confused me a little bit. He goes for U-turn. So maybe there was a world where if I go to Skeledirge there, and he predicts like Flamethrower, or not Flamethrower, if he predicts Skeledirge to stay in and clicks Thunderbolt and crits me and kills me, then maybe he has a shot to clean with Dazzling Gleam. So maybe that's what he was trying to do, but I'm not going to let any of that happen. I'm just going to click Earthquake, Goldango's going to go down, Cinderace can't kill me, so Garchomp's going to get the last 3 kills. And put a bow on this game, which I think I played really, really well. I made a couple mistakes, like with not clicking Stealth Rock the second or third time Garchomp was in, or even the first time, to be honest. But I'm really happy that I played it out patiently. I didn't try to break through Slowbro too early. I let the course of the battle happen. But, let's be real, if that Dragonite didn't get a 3-turn Outrage, it was doing a lot more damage to my team. And the game would have been completely different with a Dragonite in the back. Which is why I'm really not looking forward to having to play you again when we make playoffs.